Hi everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to Flourish by Design TV. I'm your host here, Caroline Murphy, and I'm the founder of Flourish by Design, which is a place where women can come to unfold and become the truer version of themselves. So I'm actually so excited to be on tonight and to talk about this topic, which is really close to my heart. I said in the description, it's a soulful reflection because it's been something that's coming up again and again in conversation. Those of you who know me know that I've been on a really amazing trip to Australia. And I haven't been on here for a good few weeks because we've had the Christmas break. And then also, out of a beautiful launch that I went to in London, I decided to make a really big, significant trip to Australia. And it's just been phenomenal. Had an amazing time there with so many friends that I had made already, but a lot I had met in person, but just once. Others I hadn't met in person at all before, and I got to meet in person others that I just knew fresh. And I just wanted to come on and do this reflection with you so that you can see the process in which I live my life, basically. And, a lot of people know me as, lots of different things. So I'm a graphic designer by trade, we'll say, and I had my own company for 20 years with Venice Design. Then I started my own, a new innovative way of looking at design, which is Flourish by Design. And it's more about designing our life from the inside out, rather from designing ourselves from what we think we need to be to fit into society, but to actually find that seed of light within each one of us, and then to start to grow that into the world so that we can bring our beautiful gifts and talents and fulfill our destiny, and also feel fulfilled in ourselves when that's happening. I also am a lecturer in Griffith College, and I'm a spiritual author also. So I'm also, again, evolving into specialist in training, education and development, and just finished a HDIP and studying my last thesis for the master's. So I wear a lot of different hats, but at the core of who I am, I'm what I would say a contemplative. So that means that I'm most interested in and focused on becoming the true version of who I am, and always asking big questions to myself on a constant basis. And I wanted to share with you, from my trip to Australia, the process really of how that comes about and why do I make a decision to do something like that. I would say that I live my life through, my intuition, and how do I feel into, I say, feeling into the future, feeling into what I'm asked to do. Because the way I look at life is, I look at life as in I've been designed for a higher purpose. So the reason why I'm here on this planet is extremely specific. It's not general, and I'm just a person in life wandering around, and I can make any decision. I used to live my life like that, but now, many years ago, I decided, no, I had really kind of exhausted all the trappings of that life had advertised to me, and I got really, really, really interested in what I was specifically designed to do and to become, and how I was here to serve. So that meant that when I move through life, I'm always doing it from a place of listening to where I'm being asked to journey to. So it makes life quite exciting and adventurous because I have been asked to do so many things that I would never have done otherwise. I was a very, you know, dedicated mother and loved being at home with our kids and always putting them first. Would have never thought of just in a split, in a second deciding I'm going to Australia and then just to find a way to get there, um, and to mark out the time and to go so far away from my kids. But when you choose that path, you are deciding to you are you're surrendering to that higher purpose for your life. And it's as if you are like a paintbrush, or you are to that for the divine's will. And that's how I live my life. So I often know I might go for one reason, and something else happens on the trip that I didn't realize. And it was the same with this trip. I mean, I had a thinking that I had many different purposes. It was a multi-purposeful trip. It had many facets of why I was going to be there, why I needed to be there. And, that did unfold because so many different things that I had done and so many different people that I met. And a lot of what it was in the heart of why I went was actually for support. I think, to be there for a lot of my friends that I love so much, and they really, I know, to give them a big, huge hug and to hug them for, days at a time, and just to keep, sharing that love and that intimacy in the heart that I often talk about. Our relationships, the quality of our life is a reflection of quality of our relationships. So having that time just to be there and to really deepen the bonds with my very close friends and friends that I'm getting closer to and spending more time with, understanding them in a much deeper way, has been such a gift for giving and also for receiving. So receiving that beautiful knowledge of who they are at the moment. So why I named this one Who Am I Now is something that I have been sharing in a process that I do constantly. So once I, for example, have journeyed to Australia, and I had stepped into the challenge that I was asked to do. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of faith. It takes investment of money. It takes time. I had to work really hard to get all my work finished so that I could actually, eke out that 10 days, 11 days to be over there with my friends and to record a podcast to do with Kim, Dawn up, to attend the launch with Michelle Gardner and all the beautiful women from 55 Faces, and then to spend time with friends that were very close to my heart as well, and to give them time, and then have some time to relax and some R&R, just a bit of fun, and really to unwind and just enjoy. It was after that, when I come back, then I spent a lot of time processing what these new experiences and what I had gained from being over in Australia, and what the process of that always takes its shape for me in asking that question, who am I now? I think it's the most important question to ask ourselves when we're on a transition period. If we're feeling like, I suppose if it can happen in many different periods in our life, where if we're changing a different decade, I would say the decades, when new decade is always a time when we have to ask that question, who am I now? Or if we're moving relationships, if we've ended a relationship, we're starting a new relationship, who are we now, and how are we showing up as this new version of ourselves? Or if we've lost a job, or if we're moving career, or if we're transitioning, moving house, or moving locations, or moving any major change in our life, or if our children have gotten older and they've, don't need us as much. That's a shift in our identity. So all of those transitions in life affect our identity, and I often talk about brand identity, but a consciously, or our personal brand identity is that core understanding of who we are, which is always evolving. So when we ask the question, who am I now? We're actually inviting in all the experiences that we've had in our life up to that moment. So we're looking at, okay, this is how I update myself. But it's a little more than that, because you're inviting in the learnings from your experiences, whether they're difficult experiences or whether they're beautiful experiences, or whether they're just experiences that happen on a profound level, where something that might come to you in stillness, and you get these, what I call, raindrops of insights that just drop into our awareness. All of those things change our perception of life, and then a perception of ourselves. So the identity that we carry and live from is an idea that we have about who we are, and we live from that. But when our external world changes, we put attention on ourselves then to ask the question, who am I now? So if my external world has changed, then our internal world needs to change to match that. But we can consciously do that in a way that we can maximize our life experience. So, for example, when I went to Australia, I felt, I had an opportunity to do the podcast with Kim, but I really felt I didn't want to rinse and repeat what I've been doing for years, which is using StreamYard like this, which is perfect for this platform. But for Suits You, I felt really wanted to do it properly and spend a little bit of more investment on getting a proper videographer and setting it up and seeing how we could really level up and offer the audience something that was extremely valuable for this time, because the passion that is behind our intention for that podcast is very potent because of the needs of this time. So that again put tension on, can we do it? It's leveling up. It's doing something different. We haven't actually done this before, and how would we be good enough? Would we be able to, make it look professional enough? Because, so there's a challenge there in that. And, it's you're moving out of your comfort zone. But we organized it. It was my bag. I went missing for 3 days, so I had no clothes, and we had to go in and buy clothes. And we patched it together, and I got my bag in time. But it's amazing how, when you have a will that you want to really step out of that comfort zone and to push yourself, because you have a vision that you want to bring into reality, it's so amazing when you actually do that and you actually become a different person than who you thought you were. So, the workshop I talk about here, who do you think you are? We're always questioning that then with, who am I now? So for me, before, I was a person who had never done that before, had never done a professional podcast before. And then after it, I'm asked the question, who am I now? So now I'm a person who actually found that really enjoyable and found it absolutely amazing getting direction from Reno, and wanted to do more, and would have actually done a lot more filming if I could have had the time to do it. We spent a day doing it, and I would have done it for another couple of weeks and I think going forward, that's what I would do is, and I plan to do a lot more courses, filming, podcasts, a lot more production work, because I can see, after getting the footage last night, how much different it is, and how you can really communicate your message really clearly with the proper editing. So it actually, when we ask that question, who am I now, we're incorporating all of our learnings of who we are and what we're capable of. So we're saying, I'm capable of doing so much more because I know myself to be a different person now. I know myself to be able to step into that challenge and to succeed at that challenge. And that gives you more confidence. And the more confidence and self belief that we have, the more we can do in the world. Then the more we can expand ourselves and the more we can follow the vision that life has of us, the dream that the divine has dreamt of who we are to become is realized in a greater way. And that gives us a deep sense of satisfaction in ourselves because we are walking our path. And it's not just about healing, it's about growing. So when we heal, we grow in our power and we grow in our presence. And that is extremely exciting because the amount of people that affects around you is huge. I feel that's something that I've come away with. The amount of people, the more it's giving me a really great incentive to understand the more that I step into who I've been designed to be, the more people that I affect and I inspire and I influence in a positive way. So that gives you more momentum to do more again. So who am I now is a fantastic question for any of you to ask yourselves rather than just going through life and doing. Are we slowing down to speed up? And who am I now is one of those questions that we ask ourselves when we slow down. Because you're actually capable of a lot more than you realize. When you're to sit and to think about everything that you've achieved in your life and all the life experience you have, there's so much more that can be unfolded. And sometimes we live our life on rinse and repeat, the same life, habits every day. And I shared a post actually yesterday. I came across it was amazing. They were saying that if you want to live to 100, you from the age of 50, you should be having new experiences and going to different countries and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and going into countries that are more challenging for you. The change of food and change of climate and the change of culture is really brilliant for you to stretch yourself. And I really feel that traveling across to Australia on my own and going through different countries all the way along and different things happening, I just enjoyed it so much. And what I've gained from that experience when I came back is another level of confidence and actually trust in the world, that like the world, as I said earlier, is like the world is your oyster. And really you have that beautiful trust and sense of belonging in the world, then you can really become like a cooperative, I would say asset, that you can allow yourself to share yourself on a larger way. So I would say that in the friendships that I have, the close friends that I have, people that I'm visited in Australia, this is something that I've been sharing with them as well, about that contemplation of who am I now? I'd love you to sit and think about that, especially if you're going through a change or a transition or something that's more challenging your identity. It is definitely the most creative thing you can do because there you are in control of who you're going to become. You're showing up differently when you sit with that question. So I'd love you to just think about that and to spend a little time having a slowing down, asking yourself, who am I now? It is something I would say is a meditation. And often, people talk about meditation, their eyes closed and relaxing and, unwinding and centering themselves. For me, yes, I do that. not as much as I used to do, because my meditation is with my eyes wide open. Everything that I see in life, everything that comes into my awareness is a meditation for me. It's a meditation on what are these challenges? Why are they coming up? I know that they're there to strengthen me, even if it's something extremely difficult. I can face it. And I know in my heart of hearts that I'm being given this challenge to make me stronger. And I often ask, why is that? I'm curious, always curious to why I'm being asked to be stronger. Why will I need to be stronger? Because there's something in the future that I'll need to face, that I need to have this strength for. So it's always a training ground. It's always a muscle. It's like being in the gym, you know? So as I always say, like, everything is good for you. Everything is good. Life is intrinsically good, and it is giving us exactly what we need in this specific moment in time. If we slow down to speed up, we can ask that question and understand who we are becoming. We're always becoming, not just for ourselves, we're becoming a greater person to meet the times that we're living in, so that we can serve and that we can share ourselves in a larger way in the world. So I just wanted to share that with you and talk about that, the who am I? Who am I now? Moving away from, we were talking about who do you think you are? Wondering, the first step really is realizing that I have a perception of myself, an identity of myself that I'm living from. And is that true? And then once we've gotten closer to that, it's always updating that identity of who am I now. So I hope that helped you. And I know a few of my friends and close acquaintances are going through difficult, changing, I would say challenging transitions in their lives at the moment. And I would love to share that with you and with them. And just it's something that gets me through, not just gets me through, but it's a process that I use when I know that I'm consciously it's time to update myself and upgrade myself. And it means I'm ready for more. I'm ready for the next level. Okay, so I leave you with that. And I hope you have an amazing week. I'll be sharing more teachings with you over the next couple of weeks, trying to go back onto my weekly now. And I'd have some beautiful people that I love to get on and interview, so that you can learn all about them and what they're here to serve. So beautiful Kat, meow, a friend of mine from Australia. We've been talking about working around color, doing some more work around color. So I'll have Kat on, and we might do a little mini series together. She talks about color with confidence, and I just want to really expand on that for you women going forward. Coming up to the spring would be beautiful. Okay, guys, talk to you next week, and slán. Thanks for listening. Bye. God bless.